Welcome back to Mixology Hacks, my lovely friends. Welcome back to the place where we experiment, we do mess, and we create wonderful ingredients. So if you're a home bartender, enthusiast, or even professional bartender, you know that's the place to be, because there's a very lovely step-by-step videos explaining every single aspect of what we're doing on the channel without rushing, but just pure tutorials, just so you know and understand what's happening and what I try to teach you. And I hope, as far as you can see, everyone enjoying it and the channel is doing really well thanks to you. So it's absolutely pleasure to present to you and give you all these little tips and tricks which you can implement in your home bartending or professional career. And also, just to mention here, if you want to support the channel more and you want to get more involved, I have restarted my Patreon, and this time it's for real. The Patreon is under the name The Moody Bartender, a good name, and I'll explain at some point why, but I'm working on something. But yes, it's called The Moody Bartender, and this is a place where any of you who wants to support the channel and whatever I do, you can join the Patreon. There's a few options there. You can choose which one is for you, or you can even join for free. But the free tier, it won't give you any of the extra posts and behind the scenes and the perks which the other tiers give it to you. So make sure you check the link in the description. If you want to support the channel, I will appreciate anything. Even if you just join as a free member, that means a lot to me. And before I start with today, because we have so much to do, just to mention, if you're looking for a place more than just learning recipes and learning tricks of the mixology, or you want to share some thoughts or exchange ideas and meet new like-minded people like you who likes mixology, cocktails and everything about the hospitality, don't forget to check the link of the Bartender Lounge. It's a free community for all of you. Thanks to the guys who support already on Patreon, this community, it will remain free, so you can join at any time, introduce yourself, get active, make new friends, share ideas, make conversations, get in touch with me. If you want to request one-to-one conversation with me, that's the place where you can literally do it without any issues. But with all that saying, and I will remind you at some point during the video, today we are making celery syrup, celery bitters and a celery liqueur. So it's lots to cover. Even though I was thinking to separate the video in 3 different videos, you know the format of this channel. We don't rush, we make the video as long as it takes. You can always come back and rewind or pause or take just a snippet of the video, whatever you want to make. So it's all there for you. That's why I'm gonna keep it all in one episode. So without further ado, let's crack on, because as I said, we have quite a lot to cover. So in every other video till now, I give you the ingredients in the beginning and the equipment. In this video, I will try to do it a little bit different. Not because I don't like the format, but because my table is too small. So if I want to put everything in front of me, I literally won't have the space to show you everything in once. So we're gonna go through the ingredients and the equipment on each one of the sections. We will start with the syrup because it's the only part of this video when require juicing, so it's a little bit not messy, but it's something which is kind of gonna take a little space with the whole machinery to juice the celery. And the 2 other ingredients, which is the celery bitters and the liqueur, it doesn't require any of this. It's more about on the sous side when we're gonna use a pressure chamber and a sous to cook. Of course, the syrup is gonna be cooked in the sous as well, but we have to prepare the celery juice first, and that's why we're gonna start with the easiest of all, the celery syrup. So for the syrup, yeah, we're gonna need the fresh celery. We are going to need some ascorbic acid, so hopefully you have some already in your shelf somewhere. If you don't have ascorbic acid, you can use a little bit of fresh lime juice or a lemon juice. The reason why we're using ascorbic acid is to stop the oxidation of the celery and keep it bright green, yeah? We don't want over time to start browning and change the color of the syrup. That's the only reason. The ascorbic acid is preferable than citric acid because it's basically a vitamin C and it's not high in acidity like the citric acid or the lemon juice. It's introduced very, very mild acidity to the syrup, which you won't feel once you mix it with the sugar, which is absolutely fine. But in the same time, it's helping a lot with the oxidation and preserving the color of your veggie, at this case. And of course, we will need some sugar. We will not using a single drop of water in this syrup. Everything what is going to be, it will be the juice from the celery with the sugar, with ascorbic acid, and you can do it two different ways. One way is if you want a quick syrup, you can blend everything in a blender until the sugar is dissolved and you can use it. If you want to preserve it for a longer, to keep it in the fridge for 3, 4, 5 weeks, we will put it through a water bath in the sous vide and we'll cook it on around 60 degrees for an hour, which is gonna pasteurize basically your syrup. Then we're gonna cool it down to help this pasteurization, and this will prevent your syrup of going off pretty quickly. And the lack of water also is gonna help a lot. As you know, all the syrups which I've done here so far, we use some spirits. There won't be any difference today. I will drop a little bit of vodka inside to help extending the shelf life. End of the day, we're doing syrups here to be used in a cocktails. Even though it's gonna have a little bit of vodka, the spirit volume and the ABV, it won't be as much as you may be thinking, oh, you're putting spirit. So you can still use it in a mocktails because in the small amount which you're gonna use from the syrup and the dilution from the ice and the other ingredients, that basically you can easily call a non-alcoholic, okay? So, to start with, I'm gonna juice around 200 ml of my celery, and I think I'm gonna go all the way. When I'm juicing, I'm gonna measure in the same time because I don't wanna do too much and lose anything. First of all, and the most important thing is make sure you wash your celery. So it depends where you're getting it, from the shop or maybe just from the market. If it needs washing, just wash it. It doesn't matter if it needs washing or no. This one, it's already been done. In any case, if you have any of the tops like a little bit yellow or gone dry, just cut them off. Simple as that. I will put on the side to make some space. Now, you have two choices here of juicing. Depends what you have at home as equipment. I do have slow juicer, which is a cold press, as we call it. So basically the juice from the fruit or the veg is going through a little kind of a spiral and going through a very small fine sieve, which helps to separate the solids from the juice. There will be some fine, very, very fine solids from the celery in the syrup, which I don't mind. Now, if you want to take your syrup further, you can clarify the celery water after that through a coffee filter to catch any of the small flesh left from the celery. Depends how you want your syrup to be. If you want extremely clear, filtrate it. If not, if you can be asked, just use it as I do. I don't filtrate mine. I don't find it necessarily, but depends on the project you're doing. You may need to clarify, okay? Which is very easy. It doesn't include any clarification, like a very difficult one. It's basically a nice coffee filter. So this is basically a cold press, guys. It's coming in different shape and forms. It depends where you buy it from, what company it is, but basically it's doing exactly the same. You put a fruit or a veg through it and it's going through the small sieve, compress the veg and the fruit and separate the solids from the juice. It's simple as that. It's a wonderful thing to have at home, even if it's not just for the mixology, for anything. It's just a beautiful thing. It doesn't cost much. I'll leave you some suggestions down in the description as always. But let's squeeze now 200 ml of this fantastic fresh crispy celery, okay? Okay, we're ready. 200 ml of the juice, absolutely perfect. So all you need to do now is just remove the head of the juicer so we don't make too much mess. I'll put the machine on the side because I don't need it anymore. And yeah, we're gonna get the syrup prepped and ready. So this ascorbic acid, let's leave this knife here because we need it for the bitters, okay? So with ascorbic acid, I usually go, if I do around half a liter of the juice, I go with a bar spoon. So that's my kind of a measure. I don't really measure it on the scale, but since we're doing 200, I will go just with a half a bar spoon, or you can go with a half a teaspoon. Give it a good stir. Okay. So today I'm bringing the big guns. The reason why, it's because, let me just put this on the side for now. We don't need it for a moment. The reason why I'm bringing this is because I've been talking to you for a long time about getting myself a pressure chamber. And it was obviously around the festive season, it was on a good promotion, so I finally managed to get one. You know my small vacuum sealer? You can use one of those, it's absolutely fine, you don't need the pressure chamber. But today we are going to use this to prepare the bitters, and also I will explain to you how to make two different ways the bitters. Depends if you're having the pressure chamber at home or you don't. So there's no worries, you're still gonna get the same result, okay? In this one now, I'm so excited because this little baby is doing fantastic things. You remember the video which we did with the cucumber martini, with the garnish, when we have to basically use icy whipped cream canister to pressurize it and push the gin through the cucumber and extract it. It did really good results, but it was very limited to the amount you can do and obviously to the pressure you can apply to the veg and the gin. With this one, my gosh, I did it for the new martini, which I did, the green martini. Absolutely spot on. It's doing fantastic job. Let me grab my scale, because obviously we need to be precise here. By the way, my screen blow off on the second camera, which is the close-up camera. So I'm hoping everything is doing kind of a nicely in focus for you until I manage to replace this screen. I don't know, it just stopped working. It's one of those things. Right, 200 grams of sugar. Right, we'll put the juice here. And it's nothing to infuse here today. All I need is just to, because I'm going to use it for the bitters, I'll use it for my syrup as well. So, sealing, there you go. That's how noisy it is. I don't think that's noisy. It's doing pretty well. It's gonna do 30 seconds. It's gonna extract a little bit of the air from the back, and it will basically help this sugar to mix nicely with the juice from the celery, and we're done. There you go. Job good 'un. We're done with the syrup, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned, if you want to do this quick as a syrup, just do it on the very high-speed blender. In my case, that's what's happening here. You see, the most of the air is removed. So when I put this in the water bath, I'll have a lovely, nice cooking, just the water and the sugar, but that is basically what's happened with the syrup. I need a drink. And now we can put this on the side and crack on with the celery bitters, shall we? Okay, celery bitters, fantastic for Bloody Marys, fantastic for some wonderful celery-based cocktails. It's just amazing. Not to mention, you can use it in the cooking. A few dashes goes a long way if you do a salad or anything. So it's absolutely worth having it. And since they're bitters, obviously the shelf life it's pretty much indefinite. So you can use them for a very long time once you've done it. And while we talk about bitters, I know I said I'm gonna do a video on the fig bitters when it's done, but festive season, busy at work, literally trust me, I couldn't manage. I did video, which I supposed to do voiceover, but it became really, yeah, it's too late now. So what's happened is, I've got my lovely fig bitters, there you go, and they're just fantastic, absolutely amazing. And yeah, so I don't know if you've done it. I know so far we have one of our bartenders lounge member did it, and he says it's absolutely amazing, which is so good for me to hear that people actually follow up and did it. But let me know if you're planning to do it, or you did it, or you just haven't watched the video yet. That's, you know what I mean, it's there. It's not going down. So celery bitters, simple as that. You're gonna need lemongrass, preferably fresh. I don't know if it's anything to do with my luck. I drove around 6 shops, I couldn't find any fresh. I tried to get from Amazon, it says it's gonna arrive in half a month or something like that. Don't know why there's such a shortage of lemongrass, fresh one. So I went and grabbed some dry one, preferably fresh. You need 2 stalks and use the green parts if you can. I got a dry one, so it's kind of a mixture of the green and white parts. That's what I'm gonna use. It will give you a good results if you're using dry one. It's nothing wrong with it, but preferably if you can find fresh, find fresh. I couldn't find any. So we're gonna need some coriander seeds. We are going to need some Allspice Berry. Not all of them, not all this jar, just 1 or 2. We need some celery seeds. Now, with the celery seeds, it's very kind of a personal, to be honest. You can go really crazy on celery seeds if you want to increase the celery flavor, or you can go like in my case I did. This is around, I don't know, 7 grams. It's around like a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half. I just want a little extra to bring to the fresh celery, just to elevate the flavor, but I don't want it to be celery in the face, let's put it that way. So it's a very personal preference here. Maybe do one like I do it, and if you think it's not enough, you can always put it back to infuse for a little bit later, longer, and just get more of this celery flavor. But you know what I mean, it's a personal preference. So you're gonna need some bitter element, of course, and we are going to use Gentian roots. This is gonna be around half a teaspoon. You need 100% proof vodka or a grain spirit if you have. It doesn't need to be exactly 100%. Like mine, for example, it's 90 proof. So, but if you have 100 proof, it will help you to extract a little bit more of the flavor. However, with these bitters today, we are going to do in the pressure chamber, but I'll tell you originally how to macerate them for how long and what to do after to extract even more flavor. So even if you don't get 100 proof vodka, it's not a biggie, okay? It'll be absolutely fine. You're gonna need some water, but that will be water on the final process before bottling. And finally, the most important ingredient is the celery. Of course, we need fresh celery. And the final one, it's fresh mint leaves, just to bring some lovely freshness to the celery bitters. Again, you can experiment here. Instead of mint, you can bring basil leaves if you want to bring this more kind of like a earthy, savory, botanical flavor to your bitters. The possibilities, it's endless. So once you have the core of the bitters, you can experiment with whatever you want. I'm just giving you, as always, the basic, the core, the idea. Then go wild. Be mixology hacker to the bone, to the core, and just do whatever you want. Okay, so let's crack on because we obviously have a lot to do, but before I just cut everything and put it to cook, I wanted to tell you something quickly. If you do this bitter to the old school maceration process, when you can put it in one of those jars and macerate it for around 2 weeks, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you shake every day just to keep the ingredients kind of to incorporate and just keep releasing of the flavor. In the end of the process, you need to separate the solids from the liquid and put the solids in half a cup of water and boil it, like a simmer it for around 15-20 minutes, which is going to help to extract even more of the flavor of these solids. And then mix the water with your bitter and you're done. You're going to have a lovely celery bitters. In our case, we're going to do something different. We are going to infuse with the pressure chamber and then sous for 2 hours, probably around 2 hours max, on a 60-70 degree to help speed up this infusion process. Simple as that. Okay, so there's no necessarily need of pressure chamber. The reason I'm doing it is because obviously I wanted one and I want to do it quicker to see how we're gonna do. So I will get around 200 grams of the celery. So just roughly chop. Make sure you chop around 1 centimeter. The reason why you need to chop this celery is because first of all, it's going to help the spirit to go through it and extract the flavor of the celery. Do not juice it. Some people may ask, can I juice it and create the bitter? You can probably, but I will not suggest, because what we do here is extracting flavor from the celery but trying to keep the bitter as clean as possible. And of course, not mixing any of the celery solids, okay? Now, since I'm going to use the pressure chamber, it's even better being a cut, because what the pressure chamber is going to do is going to push the vodka through the pores of the celery, and then it will extract it back. And this way is going to mix flavors fantastic, and it will be absolutely amazing. So 200 grams I need, that's what I need. There you go, 203, I'll live with that. So here on the side, I will open my chamber and just straight away start putting the things in. Like, another good benefit of having a pressure chamber is that the way how it's inside, you remember with my vacuum machine, I always have to keep the back hanging from the table or making sure it doesn't leak or doesn't flip around to everything to go down. Here you have a nice bath inside in the pressure chamber, so you can just leave the back and work with the rest. So with the coriander seeds, let's put the lemongrass first. Now, since my lemongrass is dry, I will not chop it, but if it's a fresh one, make sure you chop it so you kind of help to go through it. Since it's dry, I'm just gonna go in the back and I'm just gonna break it a little bit and just put it as it is. Simple. Dry, it's really easy. Right, one down. So, coriander seeds, we're gonna break them a little bit, and I will measure, like my little micro scale coming to place here. So yes, make sure you have this micro scale. Yeah, I always keep telling you, check the link in the description and get it. Okay, it's a teaspoon of coriander seeds, or a bar spoon, which is around 1.5 grams. So if you want to go with the spoons, it's absolutely fine, right? The reason I'm putting them here is because I want to break them a little bit. You don't have to necessarily, but I believe it's better. Allspice, just 1 berry, or if you have a small berries, put 2. Mine is big enough, so I'm just going to use 1. And I'm just going to break the thing a little bit. Don't need to go crazy. Just a little bit, so it helps the vodka, which we're gonna put after, to go through it and infuse quickly. Okay, so celery seeds, as I say, it's personal preference. If you want to go more crazy on the celery seeds, go more crazy. Don't go over like 50 grams, let's say. May get really overpowering. In my case, I'm gonna use, in this here, I'm gonna use around 5 grams. That's all it is. That's all I want. So that's going in. Gentian roots, half a teaspoon. It's more than enough because they're quite bitter. Now, try to get the bark. Don't get powdered gentian roots, okay? Try to get the bark, it's better. Just saying. So go half, which it's, yeah, around, let's do it a gram. There you go, 1 gram of gentian root. It will be more than enough for our purpose. So we've done the coriander, we've done everything. Let me just check my list. We have the celery, we have the vodka, but yeah, mint, that's all it's left. With the mint, around 10 mint leaves. Just, yeah, fresh mint leaves. I know every mint is different. That's another thing to consider. I even stopped counting, but I think I'm close there. You can consider maybe picking up a spearmint, peppermint, apple mint, some different mint. I don't know. There's so many different variations of mint. You can choose whatever you want. Another option to play with the flavors, okay? And finally, my lovely friends, this little jar is gonna go with 200 ml of vodka. Now, you can use 400 ml if you want to be more diluted, but I prefer to have a lovely, wonderful, strong bitter when it's come to the celery and use only few dashes. I don't want to use too many. And a 200 milliliter of celery bitter is more than enough for you for a whole year, okay? So you don't need to go crazy on it. Just pop it inside in your bag. Wonderful. And this is it. That's all our ingredients. I'm gonna move my cutting board because I don't need it now until it comes to the liqueur. And yeah, let's infuse. So the ANOVA, this pressure chamber, have an option for infusion. What's basically it's doing, it's taking out the air from a chamber and it's holding the ingredients without air for a certain period of time, usually 90 seconds, and then put the air back and it's all go through them. So I'm gonna run 3 times through this. There's another little trick which you can do if you have the pressure chamber. Once it sucked the whole air, you can switch off the chamber and it's gonna stay there and leave it for 2-3 minutes and then switch it on to release the air. This is gonna give even quicker infusion, okay? That's just a suggestion. So let's go with the 1 infusion and then we're gonna cut to the rest because you don't need to look anyone, like all of them. But should I get my phone? I will get my phone. All right, let's do that proper. I didn't think about that earlier, but just I want to show you what's happening here. Okay, so if you look, that's the pressure chamber on top of it, and here you have all these kind of a nice options: infuse, extract, compress, pickle, dry coat. You have the vacuum and seal options to strong, normal, obviously the timing. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna choose infuse, extract, and press the start button. And hopefully you'll see what's happening here inside. Look at that, how it's bubbling, yeah? It's absolutely fantastic. So what he's doing at the moment is doing small cycles of infusing. So some of the liquid is going to go through the celery, through the ingredients, and it's going to extract of the flavor. Then we will shake it after to bring some of the ingredients, you know, to mix them, and we're going to go a few more time with this process. That's all it is. Go. Look at that. So proper vacuum. And this is how it works. So you see now it's vacuum back. Everything's gonna go through the ingredients inside. Actually, let me show you. Look at the celery. It's pretty much gone like a see-through. The reason why is because now the vodka is gone completely through the ingredients, and obviously it's sucking all the flavor from the celery. Okay, let me take it out just to show you, because I'm gonna do it a few more times, but you don't need to watch it. But look at that. If you can see it here, how basically the celery became a little bit like a see-through, and it's all inside now. There's not much vodka left on the top. Oh, it already smells fantastic. I think I'm gonna run it twice more, and then we're gonna move to the liqueur. So I'll see you shortly. Okay guys, I'm sealing it now. I did 3 times the pressure chamber, so it's gonna be sealed and ready to go in the sous vide to cook. But before we do that, we are going to prepare our liqueur, which also is going to the sous vide, and all 3 ingredients gonna cook in the same time. And we are going to finalize everything with a lovely celery syrup, celery bitters, and celery liqueur. All in one makes in, what, an hour? I know, a bit long video, but it is what it is. So, you know these things here. We have it sealed. Lovely. Let me put the machine on the side. Look at that beautiful thing, huh? It's so nice inside, vacuum proper. This, when it's cooked, is gonna extract even more of the flavor. And as I mentioned on the very end, I will probably not show you this on the video because there's no point seeing it, but you get the solids from the celery bitters which you're making. Combine them with a half a cup of water, just simmer for 15 minutes just to extract a little bit more of the flavor, and mix it with your bitters. Completely optional, but it will give you a little bit extra flavor, okay? So let's move to the final one, the celery liqueur. Okay, Mixology Hackers, for the liqueur, it's only few ingredients, but of course it will need a little work to be done. So the first ingredient, of course, it's the celery juice, as we did exactly for the syrup. So I'm not gonna show you how to squeeze it, but we need half a liter of celery juice. Other ingredient is very interesting. You know what is that? This is the celeric, they call it. This is basically the root of the green of the celery, okay? Smells fantastic. So you need that. I mean, it's wonderful for cooking, so it's not gonna go for a waste, but of course also it's gonna bring brilliant, lovely punch of celery flavor to your liqueur, because the greens, they're okay, but they're not that strong like the actual celeric, the root. So that's where it's gonna come the most of the flavor. We need only 150 grams of this, not too much. It's just basically like that, cut in cubes. What I'm saying basic in cut in cubes, because the whole thing is gonna be blended before it's going in the sous vide, okay? Which reminds me, I'm gonna turn my sous vide. So 70 degree, I'm gonna cook everything. and it will be for hour and a half. So the syrup is gonna be for probably half an hour. I'm gonna take it out before that, but the rest of it is gonna cook the bitters, and the liqueur is gonna cook for hour and a half. Right, after the celeric, you need some dill, dry or a fresh dill, depends whatever you have, it doesn't matter. So if we talk about grams here, the lemon peel, it's a peel of 1 lemon. That's all you need for a half a liter of the celery juice. 1 gram of the fennel seeds, 1 gram of the tarragon, mine is dry. If you use fresh, again, around 1 gram. For the dill, just a half a gram. We just want to introduce this lovely, like a garden flavor, you know, pairing fantastic with the celery, with the overall balance. It's going to make a beautiful final product. And finally, one of those little, star anise. You can pop out the seeds if you want to use the whole kernel as it is with the seeds. I'm going to use the whole thing because it's going to be blended. And saying blending, let's set it up. Everything needs to go in the blender before it goes in the sous vide. So 1 star anise, we'll put half a gram of our dill, 1 gram of the tarragon, 1 gram of the fennel seeds, 1 lemon zest, okay? 150 grams of the celeric. You can go 100, it's okay, but I like 150, it's fine. And of course, very gentle, I'm gonna pour my celery juice here. And finally, exactly the same like we did with the celery juice for the syrup. Don't forget to put some ascorbic acid, okay? You need to kind of stop the oxidation, and also it's gonna act with a little preservative. For half a liter of juice, I usually use 1 bar spoon. That's all it is. There you go. We are ready to blend, vacuum, and put everything for cooking, and then bottle our products. Okay, so we're nearly there. Quick blend here. I'm gonna go with the intelligent mode of this wonderful Ninja blender. I'll see you very shortly once it's done. So once everything is blended nicely, you have pretty much everything ready. Apart from one last thing, 2 actually. You probably wonder why I didn't do it straight away when I was blending. No any particular reason, it's just, it is what it is. So, for 500 ml of the celery juice and obviously 150 grams of the celeric, this is gonna come for around probably 600 ml. I'll be using only 150 grams of sugar. You can use more, but for me, I like the liqueur to not being overly sweet, to give a chance to the flavors to shine through. The sugar obviously is gonna boost a little bit of this flavor, but I don't want really to be overly sweet. So if you follow this recipe and make it like that and you feel it's not sweet enough, add some sugar. For me, it's absolutely fine. So I'm gonna go with 150 grams of sugar, sorry. And of course, it's time for my vodka. So if you're having a neutral spirit, 100 proof, fair enough, use it. If you don't, just use as I'm using, that's 90 proof, it's absolutely fine. For this amount of juice, I'll be going with 150 milliliter of vodka. Just on the first stage with the cooking, that should give us a good kind of a low ABV for a liqueur style. However, once it's cooked, if you think it's too low on alcohol, you think it's very weak, you can always add a little bit. So at this stage, we're gonna stop exactly on this measurement, and that's it. So I'm just gonna give it a quick blast, like a manually, just so I can help a little bit dissolve the sugar. Okay, as should do. Right, blender goes on the floor as everything else in this place. Seriously. Anyway, let's get this in the back, ready to roll. Now I may need to do this in 2 bags. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Let's see how it goes. Ideally it should be fine with the size of my bags and the pressure chamber. The actual chamber is big enough to hold this, but hey. There we go. Beautiful. Beautifully done. And let's put it in and seal it, and we are ready to cook, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I'm just going to do a normal seal. Yeah. So yeah, quite a long video, but I may do separate in future the liqueurs as a section, as a playlist, but I just wanted to go through the whole process here with the celery, how you can do basically from one product you can do 3 different results, yeah? Woohoo! Bubbling. It's bubbling inside. So yeah. If you have any ideas or any suggestions or any requests for liqueurs what you want to see in the future, make sure you drop them down in the comments, because I'm open always for you know, suggestions and ideas. So yeah. Lovely. We have our beautiful future liqueur. Now, just to mention, as it is, it's pretty much, it's ready. If you want to leave it in a bottle, in this case, and filtrate it, obviously, through a coffee filter, because you want it to be as clear as possible, you can do that. For me, I like to go through the water bath just so the heat can help extract most of the flavors, okay? That's the only reason I'm doing it. It's really nothing more than that, but hey, it's entirely up to you. As you know, I'm always going to say that. I give you the idea, give you the core, give you the basic. From there, it's your turn. Now, my water bath, it's on 51 at the moment. It should go to, we set it up on, what we set it up on, 70. So I'll come back and obviously bottle it and filtrate and do everything what needs to be done. For now, I'm just gonna pop them in and leave it to reach the current temperature and obviously start cooking. And I'll see you very shortly. Okay, my friends, we have less than 5 minutes left on cooking the liqueur and the bitters. Of course, the syrup, it's already done. Like I mentioned, I took it out half an hour earlier because it's just half an hour, it's enough. So we are going to bottle the syrup. Nothing so rocket science, bottling the syrup. But yeah, as you can see, just want to mention, the syrup is turned a little bit yellow. This is because it's cooked. Of course, putting a heat on the celery is going to change the color. But of course, it won't change to anything else now. You have the ascorbic acid, so it's going to keep it like that. If you want your syrup to be a bright green, do not do the cooking process, okay? Just blend the sugar with the vodka, with the ascorbic acid, with the celery juice, and just put it in the fridge. It will stay bright green as supposed to be. So it's entirely up to you. I've done it both ways. For example, for the green martini, which I share on my Instagram profile, the syrup is done the cold way. So it's no cooking involved at all. It's just basically blend and ready to use. So just entirely up to you. For this one, I wanted to cook, and I may compare them to see which one is going to stay longer as a shelf life. But we'll figure it out though. So there you go. I'm going to bottle my syrup. I think I've done a little bit more than what this bottle is gonna hold. Yeah, but this is not a biggie. Lovely. I'll put this on the side here. I'll figure out what I'm doing with it. Obviously it's gonna go in something, but let me just put it on the side here so it's out of my way. Definitely won't go for waste. Absolutely not. Beautiful, earthy. This lovely celery flavor. It's just fantastic. Now, again, just to mention, if you want to keep it bright green and have more punch of the celery, you will have to make it the cold way, okay? Do not cook it. But if you want to preserve it for longer, to have more kind of an earthy flavor to the syrup, you can easily just do it as I done here in the video. It's entirely up to you. Now, this is 2 minutes. I need a towel. I can get out the bitters first. We're gonna do the easiest parts always first. Okay. Whew, lots of water. Lots of water. But hey, it's fine. So, bitters. Make sure you have a towel prepared, and not only that, but it's gonna be boiling, okay? So be careful. Just dry out a little bit your back. It's just the water end of the day, so nothing to worry about. Fabulous. So, for our bitters, I will be using a cheesecloth just so I can stop the solids. Of course, I will try to make the cut here on the back as tiny as possible. This way I can avoid the big celery and any kind of a big chunks coming to the cheesecloth. It will be just basically the botanicals, but this will be fine. And let's strain our bitters. My gosh, this is hot. Now remember what I said before, if you're using the maceration process and you have all this done for like 12 days, do not throw these solids. Get a half a cup of water, put it to boiling, to simmer, okay, this is ready. And add these solids to the water. Let me just stop this. Add these solids to the water to simmer for 15-20 minutes and then strain it again and the water mix it with the bitters, because the water is going to extract the flavor from the solids if you're doing the maceration process, which is obviously room temperature. Because we're cooking here, there's no necessity of doing this. I will just use whatever I have from the cooking process. Now, I can probably squeeze a little bit more, but it won't give you that much extra anyway. Right. Put that cheesecloth on the side with a sieve. Haha, fantastic. Right, I had a bottle somewhere. So I have this little bottle, which obviously I'm gonna bottle my bitters in it, but for now, because they are extremely hot, first I'm gonna put in the jar and just let them cool down before I bottle it. Good amount, good amount. Definitely will be more than what it's in the bottle capacity here. Anyway, I need to try. I know it's gonna be bitter, but I need to try. Just a little. Mild bitter, just what I want, but you have these earthy, celery, botanical flavors coming from it. Oh, that's fantastic. This is gonna go really well in like a gin martinis or cocktails with gin, with vodka, you know, anything what you want to introduce a little bit more of like a savory flavor, earthiness, botanicals. It will be fantastic for this type of cocktails. Yeah, so we are going to use it, definitely. Right, and this is now the big boys coming, the liqueur. which is gonna be fun. Right, let's put this on the side. Again, first, I'll be using a cheesecloth. The reason why is because we blend everything, and of course, oh, let me just take it out first, cool down a little bit. First, the cheesecloth is gonna help to stop some of the solids. Not all of it, of course, but it will help definitely. And once this is gone through the cheesecloth, I will do another filtration through a coffee filter. Bear in mind it's a homemade liqueur, so of course it may not be completely clear. If you want to be a completely clear, maybe you can try with agar if you want to clarify it. Since inside you have a little bit of ascorbic acid, it may help with the milk clarification, but this is going to turn into like a milk punch, so it won't be that dominant on the flavors because milk is going to take some of the flavor. Experiment, try what you want. For me, as a homemade ingredient, I'm absolutely happy to go through the cheesecloth and then through a coffee filter, and I'm done. That'll be more than enough for me. We don't have the distillation process here, of course. In fact, I do, but I'm not sure if I want to do distillation videos because the equipment, they cost a little bit. So not everybody gonna have the ability to have this equipment, and there's no necessity of most of you to have this equipment because if you're making homemade ingredients, there's no really reason. You know what I mean? I do things for home and I do things for my work, so I kind of use it. But may share one video, let me know, just for the sake of it, so you see what is happening. But then, you know what I mean, as I say, you don't really have to, because if you make your own liqueurs, you can make them the cold version or you can cook them. It's just one off. You don't need all this fancy equipment, which I have, okay? Right, let's go slowly with that, because we have a lot here and it's hot. Fabulous, we're done with that as well. Put on the side here, or maybe I'll put it on the floor somewhere. It's always best, I think. So we're nearly done. Yeah, I know a little bit long video, but I try to keep it again in the norms, which we're doing usually on the channel. So as you can see, I'll show you now, but we collect quite a good amount of solids here. Since it's a cheesecloth, you can force a little bit the cheesecloth. Be careful, it's hot. So you can wait a little bit, or you can just do like I do. I just get it and just squeeze on the top of it a little bit. I'm gonna get my other sieve and just gonna press. This is gonna release obviously some more of the juice, which is in the solids. And I'll leave the rest of it on the side. If it drops a few drops, I can add them back, that's fine. Right, now I need to transfer this to another vessel. So I think I'm gonna do it in stages, but let's see what we have here. Yeah, a little bit here, and I'll get the pot. Now the idea is obviously, actually I'm gonna get a mixing glass. Yeah, why not? Let's just put it here, because I need this big pot to clarify the rest with a coffee filter. Okay, right, that can go in the water bath. We don't need it anymore. Coffee filter, depends what you're using. I know I've mentioned a few times about these coffee filters. They are for the big coffee machines, like people have them in work. They're quite good because they tend to stop lots of it, but at the same time, they're not slowing down too much the process. So let's try. So I'm gonna go in few stages here because I don't have nothing to hold this coffee filter. That's the only problem. I need to get one of these big funnels, like holders for the proper coffee filters of this size. but I will go slowly, and obviously that's gonna take time. So you know the process, coffee filter takes time. So once this is done, I'll be bottling and I'm done. If you don't wanna kind of go through the coffee filter and you're happy with the cloudiness of the liqueur, just go for it. However, you have to try it because we mentioned we go with 150 grams of sugar, which is more than enough for me. I can try with proper equipment, which I have obviously to measure the ABV. Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I think it's quite weak. So when I go through the whole filtration, I will add probably another maybe 100 ml of vodka just to level up a little bit the ABV, because it's quite weak with 150 ml of the vodka, because it's 90 proof, it's not 100 proof, which makes big difference. It's a slightly weak, so yeah, we can add. Obviously, every fruit or a veg have different aspects and different specs. So it could work 150 ml with some other ingredients, but not with the celery. For definitely, I need to add some more vodka, but that's all it is. So I will leave obviously all the descriptions down and the recipes and all the link to all equipment, of course, as always. But thank you so much for watching again. Don't forget to check the Bartender Lounge community if you want to join for free and stay in touch and might meet some good people there. Or if you want to support the channel, check the Patreon, the Moody Bartender. If you want to pledge or support, it will be absolutely fantastic. I'll see you in a week or 2 weeks time with another Mixology Hacks. Until then, go get some celery, go some ingredients, and go do something. Syrup, bitters, liqueur, whatever you desire. Enjoy your time, and yeah, I'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.